Could you tell us a bit more about A Rite of Passage?
A Rite of Passage, which is the first single and video from the album, is well. First of all, it was pretty obvious which were going to be the singles on this album because out of 6 songs, 4 of them are over the 12-minute mark, and only 2 of them are under the 10-minute mark. So that in itself immediately made it obvious which were the quote-unquote singles. And A Rite of Passage seemed like the best and most obvious first single because it really has all of those Dream Theater qualities. It's got some great riffs and a heavy groove and a great melodic, catchy chorus. I think it's a real strong song that really kind of encompasses everything that Dream Theater's about.
Almost in counterbalance to that is obviously the album closer, The Count of Tuscany. Tell us about why it went on for so long. Why was that the one you decided to close the album with?
Yeah, The Count of Tuscany is one of those quintessential Dream Theater epics, and actually this album is filled with epics. There's 4 songs that are over the 12-minute mark. Um, that's the way we feel most comfortable writing. It's the way we naturally write. It's very, very easy for Dream Theater to write long songs. It's always the challenge to write the shorter songs, which is the opposite for most bands, you'd think. The Count of Tuscany is just one of those songs that just has a little bit of everything for everyone. And, it's a 20-minute journey. It's the length of, a sitcom TV show. So you have to actually sit down and pay attention to really get everything out of it.
Why do you think other bands find it so hard? I mean, we could say 20 years, but most bands don't even get to there. Why do you think it is that you're able to do that while other bands struggle so much?
For us, it's been a great journey. I mean, I don't think I could have written a better script, and we're still growing and developing. There's so many bands that once they get to the 20-year mark, they kind of have peaked, and they're kind of on the downslide. But for us, we're still feeling incredibly vital creatively. I mean, we still are going to new places and making new fans and playing bigger places, and so it's still an uphill journey for us. I mean, on one hand, we've achieved so much within our little progressive metal bubble, but in the big picture of the big world, we're still almost a cult band, so there's still so much more room to grow. It's kind of the best of both worlds.
Do you think maybe it's the type of music you write, the type of music you produce that has allowed you to go on for so long? I mean, if you compare it to say pop bands, pop artists, maybe they get to the 5, 6, 7 year mark. Do you think that's something that's played a part in your success?
Well, I think part of the key to our longevity has been that we've never been in fashion. We've never been a popular sound or style, and we're not everybody's cup of tea. And we know that, and we've always known that. We just do what we do, and I think that's been a big part of the appeal of Dream Theater to the existing fans. But I think it's also been the key to our longevity because, any bands that immediately try to do a certain sound or style that's popular, they may have a quick rise, but then they have a quick fall once that trend comes and goes. And we've never been part of a trend or a style. Although progressive music right now in 2009 is probably bigger than it's been ever since the early 70s. So hopefully, hopefully we're not going to die when this dies. Hopefully we'll still be standing.
As you say, obviously the 70s were the top times for progressive rock. I mean, obviously those bands there you were huge fans of. You must be. It's obvious in your music. But how do you think that you're bringing progressive rock into the 21st century? How are you showing that off to a new and younger audience?
I think the biggest difference between us and the progressive rock bands of the 70s, like Yes and Genesis, Pink Floyd, King Crimson, I mean, back then they really only had a certain sound or style. But now progressive music in 2009, I mean, it has so many different elements. You can have metal bands like Mastodon and Opeth, or you can have more alternative bands like Radiohead. And Dream Theater kind of embraces all of it, like any good progressive band will. And I think that's the thing. Like our audience is still growing. If you go, well, actually, we've toured with Yes, we toured with Yes, we toured with Deep Purple, and when we did those tours, you could see that their audience is kind of still the people from the 70s, and then it was our audience at those shows that were always the young people. Whereas if you come see Dream Theater, I think you see a range of from kids to people, kids that are metalheads and young musicians, ranging all the way to people in their 50s and 60s that grew up in the heyday of progressive rock of the 60s and 70s. I think we're just one of those bands that incorporates many different styles, and as a result will attract many different people.
Okay, Mike. Well, great. Thank you for the interview. And just one last question. I mean, 20 years, millions of album sales, and success pretty much everywhere on the planet. What is possibly left in your mind? I mean, what are you looking to achieve from here?
I can't say that there's any specific goals or dreams at this point. We really have, it sounds like a cliche, but really all of our dreams have come true. I mean, we've done, some amazing shows, some great albums that we feel artistically satisfied by. We've toured with almost every one of our heroes and favorite bands. We've played most of the venues we've always dreamed of playing. There might be a few left. We never played Royal Albert Hall. I've always wanted to play there, so maybe that's something that can still happen for us in the future here in London.